So now it's time for the meditation. Sitting comfortably, leaving all your responsibilities aside, being mindful of the present moment, here and now, making sure that your back is upright but not rigid, hands are comfortably placed. And making sure that you're not going anywhere during this time, but simply meditate, being observant. And especially those who are practicing from home, those who are in Europe or in Asia or even in New Zealand and Australia. And despite of the time difference, you have spent and motivated yourself to practice together. So I encourage everyone and supporting each other, despite of we are living so distant, yet we are so close with this new technology. Although we do not see one another, but spiritually, when we are practicing together like this every day, we grow together in a path to the liberation. The path that leads to the happiness. So in the practice of a meditation, there are stages in how we develop meditation. First, we have to understand that the purpose of a meditation is to attainment or the liberation as the utmost. And yet we can attain other benefits. So, with the hope to the liberation in a practice, first thing we will attain is the concentration, or simply taking control of our mind, rather than letting the mind taking control of our actions and behaviors. We become a more mindful and a ability to focus on things that we want to. And a second is, once our mind is concentrated, we become a master of the mind, ability to maneuver this mind to the right or the left. And that moment we are opening our senses to see things as they truly are. When things comes to contact with us through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, even the mind, we're simply noticing them, observing them rather than engaging, rather than identifying, exaggerating, but simply we observe them. And observing objectively, we simply disconnect and dissect. And that's how we slowly will come to the closer and closer to our own self and ability to realize the true reality of our own body and the mind. And that is the first knowledge, known as the Nama Rupa Paricheta Jnana. A knowledge that able to distinguish between mind and matter. And in this stage, a person who has been practicing meditation will gain confidence and a faith in the practice around 25%. But still applied the effort around 20%. It's not 100% yet. we still have a doubt, and we still have other things, and we see other activities as more valuable than the practice of a meditation itself, and which is the cause, or which is the reason many people, despite of knowing the benefit of the meditation and spend some time practicing meditation, unable to continue. So the average application would be around 20% of the effort to be mindful. And in terms of the mindfulness or awareness of the things as they truly are in the present moment of this body or of this mind, again, will be only 10%. And that's again temporarily, not for the stable mindfulness or awareness. It's still 10% of it. And in terms of the samadhi, again, roughly around 20% samadhi will attain, which is the main reason why we feel so calm, so peace and tranquil. And even if it a little bit more, then we will feel joy and happiness. And we are still in a conventional reality. But just to begin, like opening the door, just able to open the door, like a bunch of a key that you have got, and you have to use one of those keys to open the door, and now you have found the key after trying so many keys in that bunch. And as a result, the true knowledge hasn't been developed. The knowledge that you have at that moment would be around roughly an average 5%. And nevertheless, this is a great benefit, which is the encouragement to continue practicing, to fulfill 100% of each, the confidence and the belief, the effort, the mindfulness, and the concentration and the wisdom, and particularly the wisdom which will lead us to the vijja and vimutti, the knowing and the seeing that leads to the liberation. And this is based on your practice, how much you practice. So that's why it is very important to see the value of the practice, and you dedicate the practice, not just the skipping and watching and going away. It's not like the birds are having a bath and then will be cleaned like that. Our mind needs to work continuously in different forms, practicing formally and as well as being mindful of every walks of time, whether we are sitting, reading, talking, communicating, working. We need to be mindful of it. Make it a habit. Someone asked me why I have introduced the rising falling of abdomen, or sometimes I skip to the in-breath and out-breath, and other time I focus on the samatha meditation. Which one is best and which one is good one? And there are, according to the Buddha's instructions, there is none is the one. There's so many techniques, even in the 4 foundations of a mindfulness. There's so many ways to practice meditation. So there is no right and a wrong techniques. There is no right and a wrong methods, and there is no good and a bad meditation objects. Remember that these are foundation ground that we are working on, so we have to spend much of time making the foundation stronger and stronger, the more the foundation established properly and stronger, it's much easier to develop faith and confidence, and the result will come bright in a due course time. And nevertheless, as a beginner's mind, we have to follow one technique until we become a familiar. We know all the techniques. It's like you're driving a car, learning to drive a car. You have to go through all the maneuvers and all the techniques. Once you passed test from that car that you have been training, then you can, after you have passed, you can use any cars to drive, regardless of what motor is it. You will understand all the maneuvers, all the techniques of driving this vehicle. That's the same with the practice of a meditation. So we work with one or another. So that's why I have given you a choice to work with either the breath or the abdomen, so you can work until you become a familiar. And once you become a familiar in one technique or method, then you are free. And even a one technique, do not stick with the same, that this is the right and this is the way how you practice. And each individual, when we practice, realize that they are different. So all the teachers are simply guiding us, and it's our practice, diligently practicing. So breathing in, aware of breathing in, or rising, falling as you breathe in and out. Whichever object you have chosen, making sure that you're working with that. And these stages, first, whichever object that we work with brings the concentration, establishment of our mind, and extending from there, we extend to releasing or opening our senses to see things as they truly are, and knowing the difference between mind and matter, and slowly towards the Vijja and Vimutti, knowing or knowledge and liberation, attainment. So diligently working with the object. Breathing in, breathing out, rising, falling. Nothing else. And as you're watching, paying attention to this, whenever mind drifts away, simply recognizing that and bring it back. Observing, acknowledging, noting, and bring it back. And settling down, grounding yourself. Relax and comfortable. Do not regulate the breath or do not control the breath. We are not here to practice pranayama, the breathing practice. Breathing is simply a tool to help us to get the calmness and insight. So do not try to control or regulate the breath. Let it flow naturally, normally. Share the loving kindness. Meditation. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be at peace. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be at peace. Similarly, sharing loving kindness and compassion to all other sentient beings. May all beings be well and happy. May they be safe. May no harm come to them. Let's pay respect to the Buddha.